Hello students, welcome in our third chapter and I am going to show you some pictures. Observe these pictures carefully and answer. What did you observe here? Yes, different types of rocks. Okay. Now students, tell me, what are the things that comes in your mind when you observe such rocks? Observe these pictures carefully. These rocks look like eroded rocks, broken rocks, or we can say formed due to some reasons, weak rocks. Students, this could be your answer. Now tell me, how does this breaking or weakening of the rocks occur? Internally or externally? Yes, externally. Very good. Now think about that. What could be the external element which affects such rocks? Yes, any guess? Climate, air, temperature, humidity are the external elements which could be the reason behind this. So students, these elements are external and trying to damage or change the structure of rocks externally. Thus, the process is called external process. Very good. So students, today we are going to learn about the exogenetic process. In the previous chapter, we had learned about endogenetic process. In this chapter, we will learn about exogenetic process. In the previous chapter, we have learned that there are many landforms which are formed on the surface of the earth because of the internal earth movements, that is, because of the endogenetic process. But we need to remember that there is many process constantly occurring on the surface of the earth, as well as they also lead to formation or degradation of the landforms. Such processes which act on the surface of the earth are called exogenetic process. Landforms which are formed on the surface of the earth because of the internal movement, these kind of landforms are called primary and secondary landforms. Remember, in the previous chapter we have studied that internal movements of the earth lead to the formation of continents, block mountain, fold mountains, many plateaus, plains, etc. So, all these landforms will come under the category of primary and secondary landforms. External processes occur because of the forces which are working on the earth's surface. Now, these different energy are in the form of solar energy, kinetic energy, gravitational force. They are responsible for exogenetic processes which act on the surface of the earth. Because of the external process like weathering, erosion, transportation and deposition, the primary and secondary landforms which are formed due to internal movement, they lead to the formation of, or we say that they give way to tertiary landforms. So, putting it in a simple way, endogenetic process lead to the formation of primary and secondary landforms, whereas exogenetic process lead to the formation of tertiary landforms. Now students, tell me, what are these tertiary landforms? Yes, the tertiary landforms are formed because of the process like weathering, erosion, transportation, deposition, etc. And together we term it as exogenetic process. Let's move on to the very first exogenetic process, and that is weathering. Now in simple term, we will try to understand the meaning of weathering. Now students, tell me, what do you mean by weathering? Weathering is nothing but breaking down of rock particles. Breaking or weakening of the rock is a natural phenomena, and these natural phenomena is called weathering. There are three major types of weathering which can be seen across the surface of the earth, and these are mechanical weathering, which is also called as physical weathering. The second is chemical weathering, which is also called as salt weathering, and the third one is biological weathering. Now, when you say mechanical weathering or physical weathering, this type of weathering is more dominant. Availability is more very less in arid climate and lot of temperature variation. That is area. If you look at the chemical weathering or salt weathering, it is more effective in humid climatic condition. That is, it is seen in area where the water availability and the humidity content in the atmosphere is very high. And the third one, biological weathering, mainly occurs due to living organism present on the surface of the earth. Now, in this chapter, we will learn in detail about the all three types of weathering: biological weathering, chemical weathering, and mechanical weathering. Now, let's see what is mechanical weathering. Breaking down or wearing away of rocks due to contact with the physical environment, that is the outer environment. So, this type of weathering is called mechanical weathering. Student, first of all, tell me, what do you mean by outer environment? What comes into your mind when you listen this word, outer environment? Yes? Any guess? Very good. When you think about the environment, suddenly water, humidity, temperature, cold environment, etc. So, the rocks break down because of the excessive heat, excessive amount of rainfall. This type of weathering is known as mechanical weathering. Students, keep one thing in mind. There is no chemical reactions happening in the rocks. That type of weathering is not including here in mechanical weathering. Students, there is an activity in your textbook. Take an onion, cut it in the middle, observe the cut parts and try to remove each skin layer of these parts. Now students, tell me, what did you observe here? You will notice that just as we can remove each and every outer layer of the onion, in nature, rocks undergo such process. The exposed part of the rock heats more while the inner part is comparatively cooler. So, basically rocks are made up of multiple layers, whereas the upper layer of the rock is said to be the exposed part of the rock, because this part is exposed part to the sunlight. These rocks are bad conductor of heat to the sunlight. This heat from the sun is not allowed to penetrate in the inner layer of the rock. So, the inner part of the rock is comparatively cooler. Very good. As a result, the outer layer of the rock, because of the heat, it expands and finally it falls apart from the main rocks. So, this type of weathering is called as exfoliation of the rocks, where the rocks break down layer by layer. This type of weathering is exfoliation. Remember students, this type of weathering is called exfoliation. Now, basically mechanical weathering occurs because of many reasons throughout the surface of the earth. Few of the reasons are listed here. Students, can you tell me any reason of such type of mechanical weathering? Yes. The very first reason is temperature. Second one is frost. And the third one is crystal growth. Then the next one is release in pressure. Another important reason is water. And the last reason discussed in the textbook is temperature and water. A combination of both of them, temperature and water. Now students, let's study about them one by one. Let's begin with the very first way. How does mechanical weathering happens? Because of the temperature. Do you have any idea in your mind how does this mechanical weathering happens just because of the temperature? Now see here. There are many minerals which are present in the rocks. So the mineral in the rocks expands because of the heat, while contract when temperature decreases. Now, due to such continuous contraction and expansion, tension develops inside the rock's particle. Each mineral which is present in the rocks, it reacts differently to the temperature. See, some minerals will expand more as compared to the other, and some will contract more as compared to the other. The tension formed in the rocks also increases and decreases. These leads to the formation of cracks and crevices on the surface of the rocks. As a result, cracks in the rocks develop and finally the rocks break down. So, this is how we saw because of the variation in the temperature, mechanical weathering takes place. In areas where the diurnal range of the temperature is higher, weathering of this type is common in the hot deserts. Now students, let's have a look at the second reason. There are many rocks throughout the surface of the earth where there are already cracks and crevices occurring on the surface of the rocks. Whenever it rains, the rainwater seeps along the cracks in the rocks. Now in areas where the temperature drops below 0 degrees Celsius for quite some time, so if it is the same place, the atmospheric temperature goes below 0 degrees Celsius or below the freezing point, the water which had accumulated in the cracks and crevices of the rocks freezes. Now, you know that when liquid converts into solid, it expands. Very good. So, here the volume increases, and because of the increase in the volume, what happens? Tension develop in the rocks and the rocks will shatter. They will break down. This process is known as shattering process, and breaking down of the rocks has taken place because of the frost. So this was the second important reason through which mechanical weathering took place. Now students, let's see the next reason which leads to the mechanical weathering. See this picture and observe carefully, and you will notice various holes are here, and this picture is look like a honeycomb. So let's see how this happens. This usually happen in coastal areas. In the rocky coast, the sea waves hits the sea cliffs. The water which is brought in here is salty water, that is we say the water is alkaline. Some water which hits the rocks, it accumulate in the cracks and the crevices which are already present in the rock. Now, in this alkaline water, the soluble mineral which are present in the rocks, they dissolve in the water, and this leads to the formation of small holes in the rocks. Why? Because there are many minerals which are dissolved in the water. So, the rocks are become weak and the holes are formed in the rocks. This effect is known as solution. Which kind of solution? It is water and soluble minerals together. They form a solution. Once the holes are formed, the sea water is the alkaline water get stored in the holes. But because of the sun heat, the process of evaporation takes place, and students, you know, that is the water present in the hole starts evaporating. Very good. And it converts into water vapor. Now what is left behind is only the alkaline material, that is the crystal of the salt. The crystal of alkaline materials that remains in the rocks. Crystals are solid, they occupied more space. So this leads to the tension in the rocks, the cracks. the size of the cracks increases and the holes are formed in the rocks. As you can see in the image, these holes and these rocks appear more like honeycomb, and eventually the rocks will break down into small pieces. So this is mechanical weathering happening because of the crystal growth. Now students, let's move to the next reason which leads to the formation of mechanical weathering. We had learned that rocks are made up of many layers. The outer layers or the upper layers of the rocks exert pressure on the inner or lower layers of the rocks. Now, because of the process of weathering, erosion, the upper layers of the rock may be eroded or weathered away. So ultimately, the pressure exerted by the upper layer ceases. That is, it stops to exist because there is no upper layer. So the lower layer or the inner layer freed or released from the pressure. Now, this also leads to the weakening of the lower layer of the rocks and it leads to weathering. Let's begin with the water. Now students, as you know that the rainfall distribution throughout the surface of the earth is uneven. Some areas experience more rainfall as compared to the other. In such heavy rainfall areas, the soaking of the rocks which are present there in the rainwater causes weathering of certain rocks like sedimentary rocks, sandstone and conglomerate. Now these rocks are formed because of the pressure on agglomeration of sand particles. Agglomeration means assemblage or collections, that is coming together of sand particles. Students, we know that the formation of sedimentary rocks, it is one layer of sediments over the second layer of sediments. Ultimately, multiple layers of sediments together leads to the formation of sedimentary rocks. Mud and sand particles brings the sediments together in the sedimentary rocks. They play a very important role in the formation of sedimentary rocks. So, in such heavy rainfall areas, if we have sedimentary rocks like sandstones and conglomerate present, there is a possibilities of mechanical weathering. When the water penetrates in the cracks and the crevices of such rocks, the particles get loose. That is, the sediments which are present in these rocks get loose and they separate from the main rocks. But separation will not happen in chance. Rather, it happens grain by grain, sediments by sediment. And that is why this kind of weathering is called as granular weathering. So this is how we have mechanical weathering happening due to water. Let's move on to the next reason, that is weathering because of temperature and water together. Sometimes both temperature and water together are responsible for the weathering. Now, how is that possible? Any guess? In areas where there is differences in temperature, the day temperature and the night temperature, because of excessive difference in such day and night temperature, there is continuously expansion and contraction of the rocks. Now, this leads to the tension in the rocks and there is a widening in the joints of the cracks which are present in the rocks. When water accumulates in such wide joints or such wide cracks which are present in the rocks, then it is not small particles, rather big block of the rocks separate from each other. Now this type of weathering is called as block disintegration because not one or two grain or sand particles, rather entire blocks get separated from each other. So with these, we have completed the section of mechanical weathering where we learned about exfoliation, solution as well as block disintegration, granular weathering and much more. So students, I hope you all have understood till here. In our next video, we will learn about chemical and biological weathering. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.